I've seen it happen hundreds of times. You're training, you're progressing, everything's going well, and then boom, you get injured. Dude, it is crazy how many people who practice calisthenics go through this exact scenario. And if you're one of those people, this video will probably save you a lot of time and frustration, because the truth is, injuries in calisthenics don't just happen. They build up slowly, quietly, and over time, because most people don't actually understand what is happening in their bodies while they're training. So, my goal today is to break down why this happens, how it happens, and most importantly, how you can avoid it. Because the truth is, in a sport like ours, without any structure, understanding how your body works is the best way to protect yourself, to train safely, and to keep progressing. So let's get into it. All right, let me start by saying this. I am definitely not a doctor. I'm a professional calisthenics athlete. I've been training for the last 9 years. I've made a shit ton of mistakes. I've ended up with a lot of injuries, and I've learned a lot of lessons along the way. But as of recent, I feel like I've learned how to train hard, how to push myself, how to keep making progress, and most importantly, I've learned how to do it safely. And that's the reason why I'm making this video. My hope is to be able to transfer at least the information that I have in my head to you guys so you guys can benefit from it as well. So let me start by telling you a story. It starts last year in 2024 in April in Cologne, Germany. After I competed at FIBO, one of the hardest competitions I've ever done, I put down some of the best rounds of my life, didn't end up winning, and then when the comp ended, I felt this really, really bad pain in my shoulder. So not knowing what to do, I call my cousin. He's a sports therapist, he works with athletes, and I'm like, yo bro, like I have this pain in my shoulder, it's killing me, I'm tripping out because I have a comp in 6 weeks in Switzerland, and I don't know what to do. And he's like, man, I can't really diagnose what's going on with you, like if you were around me, I'd be able to help you. So I'm like, say no more. I go on my computer, I buy a ticket from Germany to Dubai where my cousin is, and I decide to go and stay with him for a month in hopes that he was gonna heal my shoulder and then I would be able to participate in my next competition. So, long story short, I get to Dubai, I'm there with my cousin, and I'm like, all right, bro, fix me. And I guess what happened after was not what I expected. See, I expected him to do like maybe some physical therapy work on me or some exercises or some sort of soft tissue like massage or something like that. But really what ended up happening was he ended up explaining to me why I'm injured and why I keep getting injured. Because the truth is, that was not my first injury. For those of you who've been following me for a long time, you know, like I've gone through a torn bicep. I've had like other shoulder stuff with my labrum, elbow stuff, wrist stuff, all through my years of training calisthenics. And I never really understood like why they would happen. And it was weird. It was like one thing would get better and then some months would go by. I'd push myself a little bit and then something else would happen. So I'm there with my cousin, and over the course of these next weeks, more so than my shoulder getting better, because my shoulder did get better, it was like understanding the whole concept of why I was getting injured. That was the most important thing that happened over that month. So here's the best way that I can explain it to you. Injuries in calisthenics, most of the time, are not acute injuries. That means they're not injuries that happen because you fell or something fell on you, or you know what I mean? Like not like a sudden thing. More so, they are overuse injuries that develop over time. It's just that you don't feel like it's an injury until it's too far gone. So think of injuries like a spectrum. It's like it starts with maybe like a little bit of an irritation or something slowly kind of happening. And then you keep training and you keep going hard and you're stoked because maybe you unlocked a new move or you're like super close to unlocking a new skill or something like that. So your mind is kind of so taken by what you're going through and how excited you are that you just like keep training. And then all of a sudden, like that little irritation starts to get a little more aggravated and it starts to cause like pain more so than irritation. And then that pain will slowly develop, if you keep going, into like what we like to call an injury. And it's funny to think of it that way because that's like actually how every single injury I've had has developed. It's just sometimes I'm so taken by my progress and my ego is so driven by like the idea of unlocking the skill or getting to where I want to get that I don't really feel it and I don't really like assess what's happening until it turns into pain. And then I'm frustrated and I'm like low-key depressed and I'm like, what the fuck? And that is kind of the progression. of how it develops. Which, funny enough, brings us back to the last video and the concept I was talking about, which is stress and adaptation. Assuming that your injuries are not acute, like we said, and they are overuse injuries that are developing over time, which is the nature of like 99% of injuries that happen with calisthenics, unless you fall off the bar or something like that, it's all gonna go back to the rate of stress and the rate of adaptation. If the rate of stress that you're putting on your body is gonna exceed the rate of adaptation that your body can handle, then you're gonna start getting these little like irritations that are gonna turn to injuries. And so that makes us think like, okay, like what does putting stress on your body look like? And how to like maneuver around that so that you understand I'm putting new stress on my body. So I need to be careful that my body adapts to that stress so that I don't end up like irritating something or injuring something, air quotes. So usually putting stress on your body is gonna have a direct relation to like the intensity of your training. Whether it's like a completely new intensity, so imagine you've been training planche, you have like a full planche now, or you have like full planche presses, and you're like, oh, like time for me to learn full planche push-ups. Well, if you haven't trained full planche push-ups and your body's not conditioned to do full planche push-ups, if you just start trying full planche push-ups over and over again, there's a high chance that that new movement pattern is going to be too intense for certain parts of your arm and your body that are just not used to moving in that pattern. And so that new intensity, if you overdo it too fast at the beginning, is going to start giving you little irritations, and it might end up injuring you if you really overdo it just like off rip. That's one way that, you know, you are putting too much stress on your body. Another way is if you up your frequency or your volume of training, because frequency and volume are both indicators of intensity. Intensity doesn't just mean doing a progression that's way harder than you're used to doing. Sometimes intensity looks like doing what you do every day, just way more, or like way faster with way less rest. Switching up your volume and your frequency of training, both of those things are going to increase the intensity that you put on your body a lot. What that means is it's going to increase the stress that you're putting on your body a lot. And unless you do the right things in terms of your adaptation, it's going to start creating these like pre-injury symptoms. Are you guys following me so far? I hope you are, because I obviously don't have the medical terms for everything, but I'm trying to explain this in the best way possible that like I understand it and that you can understand it. So the rate of adaptation always has to correspond to the rate of stress. If you're putting a lot of stress on the body, you have to allow the body to adapt. Or even better, you have to facilitate the adaptation, maybe by taking like a rest day, eating better, sleeping better, all those things that help your body adapt, help your body recover, regenerate. You need to be watching out for those things if you are especially introducing new stress to the body. So the key takeaways here for me were like, okay, if I'm learning a new skill, I have to do it very carefully. It's very unlikely that you guys are gonna get injured by doing something that you do every day in the same way that you do it every day. So for me, let's say every day I do front lever pull-ups, full planche presses, full planche push-ups, right? So if I just go into the gym every day and I do those things, the likelihood of me getting injured doing those things is very low. But as a lot of you guys know, for these past 2 months, I've been on this quest to unlock these like elite skills like sat, Maltese on the floor and stuff like that. So those are rather new patterns for me. Like even though I'm good at touch front lever and I'm good at like wide planche, like Maltese on the floor and sat are completely new things for me. So knowing what I know now, I took my time. I took a lot of time at the beginning, just letting my body adapt to the new stress. And then also slowly over time, you will start doing these movements more and more. And then all of a sudden they'll go from being these moves that like you've never done to these moves that you're kind of teaching your body how to handle to the things that you do every day. I promise you, if you take your ego out of the equation and you understand that calisthenics is a patient man's game. Okay, if everyone could get these skills as fast as humanly possible, it would not even be worth it. No, most of us would not even want to do it. The thing that makes you love calisthenics is also the thing that makes calisthenics challenging. It's the fact that you got to earn these skills. And sometimes, especially the more advanced you get, the longer it is before you get the gratification of earning a skill. And that's fine. Because if you're wise and you understand the game, you will be able to get any skill you want. You just got to understand what you're doing, what you're asking of your body, and what you're asking your body to do for you. All right, now that we've covered that, I do want to go over a certain thing, which is quite interesting. It's why this happens in calisthenics specifically. Like, why is our sport so plagued with injuries that all of our favorite athletes end up getting injured, or everyone who practices, as soon as you get excited, as soon as you learn something new, it's like injuries happen. I think first and foremost, it's because we don't have like a formal institution around our sport. We don't have like a formal guidebook around how to learn calisthenics. It is kind of a freestyle street sport that came from, people doing pull-ups in the park and stuff like that. Obviously, like, there are certain skills that cross over with gymnastics, but we're not gymnasts. A lot of us pick up this sport because we went to the park or we were just bored of lifting weights and we wanted to get, learn these skills that we've seen someone do either in real life or on social media. So the way we approach it is not very, how to say this, wise, okay? It's not very wise at the beginning. We're just like really excited children, basically. No matter what your age is, you turn into a child when you're first trying to learn a handstand or a muscle up or a elbow lever or whatever the skills are that you're learning, in your first few months of calisthenics. The thing is, the way we approach it is we just try. We try. Don't get me wrong. Attempts are beneficial, but they have their place in training, and so does everything else, including conditioning and accessory work, which very few people talk about because it's not really flashy. I get it. So I think that's the main reason why injuries are like the plague of our sport. But I promise you, if you understand what we talked about earlier in this video, you'll understand that yes, like, okay, you're learning a new skill, you're super excited. If you start to have some irritations, you can actually like heal from those. It's not until they become injuries and you really aggravate them that they're gonna take like weeks and months to heal. And that's the funny thing that like not a lot of people talk about in our sport. It's like everybody wants to progress fast and learn skills fast, because I get it. Maybe if you're trying to compete or there's like this competitive aspect and you wanna get better and you wanna get better than the people around you, whatever it is, I get it. I get the competitive nature of humans. But the funny thing that no one talks about is like, if you try to progress way too fast and you keep trying to do shit and keep trying to push the envelope faster than your body can adapt to the stress that you're putting on it, you're going to end up injured. And nothing slows down progress more than injuries. I've seen so many people get so good so fast, and I'm like, dude, they're going to lap everyone in the sport, but then they end up getting injured, and then everyone who they got better than ends up lapping them. So it's quite funny how that works, but I guess the thing that is paradoxical to what your ego's instinct is the fact that if you take your time, if you understand the game, if you understand how stress and adaptation works, and you take the long path, it is actually the fastest path. Because if you cut corners, those corners that you cut will end up being your weaknesses. They'll end up being the parts of your arm or your scapula or your body or your shoulder that have not been worked as much as the other parts of your body. And somewhere along the lines, that weak link is what will get injured. It's crazy, but this is like 9 years of calisthenics that I'm just giving you guys in however long this video ends up being, like a 20-minute video. So if you open up your eyes, you open up your mind, you understand the game, and you keep all of what I said in mind, you are going to avoid as many injuries as you can. And you are going to end up in the long run progressing so much more than the people around you that are trying to progress super fast, skipping steps, and ending up injured. I promise you that. Let me know what you want me to talk about in the next one. Also, I do have an ebook on how to actually get better at calisthenics where I break down like every single principle that you need to learn to actually learn how to learn calisthenics and how to get as good as you can. So if you guys want to check it out, it's in the link below. I love you guys. I will see you next time.